Are you my voice guru? Like Ram Dass had his guru. You could be my vocal guru.
Is it spicy? Is it spicy?
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. That was a cold open. I came up with a cold open joke last night. My gig, which maybe I should. What are we doing for the break? What do we got for the break?
I don't know. Do you have something? Do you want to do the cold open bit?
Well, yeah, I could show. Yeah, because I don't remember. I don't remember the joke exactly, but I remember it went. I'm literally doing a cold open. Every time I go on stage, it's a cold open. Something like that. It was about how I can't ever get a laugh at the start of my set.
Gotcha. So new ground.
Yeah. Wait, you cut me off saying, you haven't seen that before, have you, from me? Ladies and gentlemen, let it be known that Andy Kindler is on the mic. I mean, I know what they mean.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'll be back, I forgot to tell you this, but how will I tell you? But I was in Minneapolis. I did a whole segment of Tom Bernard's show.
Yeah.
His podcast.
Yeah.
Without knowing that I was on the air.
Yeah, it's very casual.
And everybody has their headphones on.
Yeah.
And I'm saying things like, that Jeremy Piven, sexually, I think he got in trouble for sexual harassment when he was on the Ellen show. I'm basically telling the story.
Yeah.
Instead of couching it.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
So I guess
because it's not just a podcast, it's terrestrial radio as well in some markets.
Oh, what does that mean?
I mean, they broadcast it.
Oh, well, you know what? Bring it on, Jeremy Pivens. Did I say Jeremy Pivens already?
You added the S.
Jeremy Pivens? No, which one's correct?
No S, I think.
Wouldn't that be great if that was to promote one of his stand-up shows? People just
Jeremy with no S. It's like Liza with a Z.
I know. Only laugh because you did the follow-up that I can get the reference. Otherwise,
I didn't feel like you were on board until I told you the joke.
Well, I often, when you send me, I did miss, when you sent the joke, I did miss that it was two jokes in a way. Yeah. I was already excited about the one joke. I forgot, you know what I'm talking about?
I remember the rhythm of the conversation. I don't remember the specific joke.
This is very good. This is a good thing because, how are we going to get into Grandpa's head for him to extract the story? Why do I have to?
Exactly.
It's over.
It's all about rhythm.
I love this new rhythm we have.
Yeah.
This is the kind of show that it's not like the Ken and Bob Company that was on KABC when I first came out to L.A., which was 3 hours of just horror. Water in the garden. How you doing? Oh, that's, what do you got there, tea? That kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's worse than this how?
No. We are now establishing the A game of that. Just two guys feeling good about themselves.
Right.
And people love to hear it. Okay, I'm sorry. I called attention to it, therefore ruining it.
I think what we have is that we'll never have conflicts over money, like a radio team.
Oh, that's true. How about that laugh? Because I think a show that...
And we don't have to see each other every single day.
Oh, that's true. Well, that must be horrible. Imagine husbands and wives who do that.
Oh, God.
Just thinking about it makes me sick. Oh, okay. But Kevin and Bean, is that a show called Kevin and Bean?
There was Kevin and Bean.
Okay.
I think there still is.
They're still around, but I think one of them is actually leaving or something. But
really?
That's a show that that's supposed to be a good show, but I never listened to it. But those two personalities, I figure if I go out early in the story, it still save time.
People still go, did he have a point at some point?
Oh, I thought you just take everything out and that was start. Hey, how's it going, buddy boy? Buddy boy.
Buddy boy.
I don't like that one bit.
Is this brought to you by Damon Runyon this week?
Oh, I don't know what that means. Is that like okay, let me try and guess. Right. Damon Runyon is an old, he's an American character. He pulls himself up by the bootstraps. Is that what he is?
American writer wrote Guys and Dolls, the original.
Okay, that's it, folks. How old am I? 62? Almost 63? I thought that was a name of a character.
No.
What's his name?
Damon Runyon.
That can't be his real name.
Okay,
his real name was Bernie Schwartz.
Probably.
But that's not the point we're making. The point is not whether he changed his name. The point is that I thought he was a novel.
Right.
Oh, have you read those Damon Runyon books? Demon Runyon books? Is Guys and Dolls good as a... No, I haven't seen... I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through. I love the songs.
He wrote the source material. He didn't write the musical.
Oh. Is it the Guys and Dolls where they change clothing and they're ladies? No, right?
No.
That's those damn Yankees? Is it something where Frank Sinatra goes, oh, boy, that fella's got a dame?
Sort of. I got the horse right here.
Yes.
His name is Paul Revere.
Can do.
Exactly.
Is that like good Frank Sinatra? Can do.
Frank Sinatra has a cold. It's the whole gay Talise thing.
Can do. Hey, Lizzie, Jizzy.
Wow.
I didn't even mean to be dirty.
Wow.
Hey, Jilly, get my thing I beat up the people with.
And bring Lizzie and Jizzy with you.
Bring Lizzie and Jizzy. I have a new impression I want to run by you.
Oh, good.
Okay. It's not what you think.
On the show?
Well, what else would I run by you?
It's true.
Don't worry. It's not him. These commercials that I know you're a fan of, they're Match.com commercials. They've been on for years.
Yeah.
And this, not that they've just been on for years and they're annoying. It's the same people. You would think, how could they? So this woman goes, come find me. I'm looking for someone with an excellent sense of humor. Come find me.
Yeah.
That's the
And that's been bothering you for...
Find me. I also love that she has an excellent sense of humor, as if anybody with a sense of humor would be in the market for someone with a sense of humor. I like jokes. I like laughing.
I don't understand that.
She goes, I want to find somebody with an excellent sense of humor.
Right.
You think that's legitimate for a matching profile?
Yes.
But that means that you actually see a sense of humor as something that you acquire and develop, which could be true.
Well, what do you mean? It is. I mean, you're hoping someone has found it and developed that thing.
I guess it's when you say it on camera and go, I'm looking for someone with an excellent sense of humor.
Yeah.
Maybe you hide that in the Facebook part of the profile.
I don't know. I'm not with you on this this chop bust here.
Luckily, okay. But
I'm with you on come find me.
Come find me.
Like
Come find me. You see, I'm nervous now around you.
Okay.
Come find me. Come find me. It's so annoying. And the other guy, is annoying too. He goes, I'm looking for someone who's kind. Again, why don't you do something that would make someone react in a kind way to you?
But really, this is more of a burn on how much fucking TV you watch. That it's gotten into your craw like music in your head.
Well, some of them I block out, but then some of them like liberty. Do you understand that the ostrich?
Liberty. Right.
But that his partner is an ostrich who's looking in the mirror.
It's an emu, actually.
Okay, it's an emu. See?
Yeah, see?
You're able to analyze it even if you dismiss it.
Right.
And so what's the joke there? Is that literally a joke that a bird thinks it's his partner thinks his reflection in the mirror is him? I mean, I don't get it. Explain the joke to me, and you can tell I'm ready to receive it. I'm ready to laugh.
Yeah, I don't want to play the
bad guy.
Why commercials are bad game all that much.
Why commercials aren't as bad as you. And we'll be back. Josh's position are, they're not that bad.
It's more of a who gives a shit position, platform.
Well, can I get, while we're on the topic, can I get a couple more out of my system?
Sure, please.
Sometimes the Gecko commercials will have something funny, I guess.
Yeah, you think?
Every once in a while, it seems like there's two groups of commercials being made.
Right.
Because weren't they the guys
you
who
like
had
Team A, but Team B
is
not you.
Yeah. They had so I don't like there's nothing funny to me about the fact that he's a lizard, or he's not a real lizard, or is he a real person who's a lizard. I couldn't care less about an animated, stupid. Is it a gecko? Is that what it is? Is that the joke?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's Gecko.
Uh-huh.
And that guy's voice. Who needs more? Is it Australian? I think it's Australian, right?
Sure.
Hey, go away, mate. I'm sick of the Australians from that one commercial. I blame the Australians with the Down Under.
All right, moving on to the next.
Did I mention liberty?
Yeah.
Well, then there's the cover all the commercials where they said, they wouldn't insure the whole car. Did they think I wanted to insure half a car? Like that.
Yeah.
Is that also liberty?
I don't know if that's Liberty. I think that's someone else.
Okay, I'm done. I can't think of anything else that's really bothering me.
Okay, good. Then your life is good. How was Minneapolis?
Minneapolis was very, very nice. Yes. Yes. Yes, I love you.
Okay, bring it back.
Okay, cut it out. Oh, by the way, how's Clyde doing?
Clyde is doing miraculously well.
That is the greatest story ever told.
It really is. It is from Sunday to Sunday was night and day. He literally couldn't walk the previous Sunday.
So great.
And we had the vet going, yeah, he might have to have surgery if it's not too late. It was the kind of shit he was saying when he was like, Clyde couldn't stand up on his back legs. I'm like, okay, all right. He was standing this morning, so.
Well, it's hard to gauge it when you can't talk to the animal.
Absolutely. So
and that's why I don't have
But I feel very good now about my decision to go with the meds and some time.
Look, what do you do?
Like,
I mean,
at this point, he thinks there's nothing wrong with him, so we just have to protect him from himself, you know.
Except for the what's it called? Physiological. Why can't I talk? But, you know, like the fact that they have a long. What is it? Why is it that they have?
He has back problems, and yes, it's part of it. I suspect is because he's a long-bodied dog.
Have you ever seen?
Have lots of back problems.
Have you ever seen Clyde? And tell me if this hasn't happened. But if it has happened, have you ever seen him like kind of like a oi? Oh, the oi. Yeah. But can he get his paws back there?
No, he can't. But
wouldn't that be great?
It's implied.
But wouldn't that be great? It'd be as great as the Garfield. The Garfield selling his. Let
me just say, he suffered like any annoying Jew would. He made it very clear to everyone around him that he wasn't a happy dog.
Oh, so do you think Clyde is? See, this is the type of thing that some people would say anti-Semitic. I say it's just observing facts.
Yeah.
So if you find a dog to be whiny, he probably is a Jew.
It could be. In this, I can't dispute it in this case.
Okay, let me ask you.
But yeah, no, he's not a trooper.
Yeah, that's interesting. See, this is where you have. This is why I think I don't know what you should do with this. I don't think you're gonna go out and make a career out of. You can't be like that Walkie or whatever that woman. Who was that lady? Walkie. You know, who teaches you how to make your pet. You train your pet.
I don't know.
Walkie. All right, but here's the thing.
I don't know.
You are good with pets. I'm
good with my pets.
Yeah, because you actually go beyond whatever that's called, anthropomorphizing.
Yeah.
To just, you go, look, obviously this dog's a whiner. And remember, the dog doesn't know we're talking about.
Well, I'm highly observant, so I know their behavior really
If I said to you, I'm highly Selassie, would you be angry about it?
A little.
Why?
A little bit.
It's clever.
Yeah, but it's so annoying.
Okay,
no, it's not clever, actually.
It's highly...
Word association is very rarely clever.
That's I can't think of a thing. Well, I hate to punch you in the face. Is that good?
Uh-huh.
Hey, I like to play with the person thinks it's a pun because there's the word pun in it. Hey, how about, you like wordplay? How about if I punch you in the face?
He puts the pun and punch you in the face.
Hey, I think we just made up as an insult joke.
There you go.
So the first night in Minneapolis, I had a very bad experience.
Yeah, you said it was you just didn't feel you were not your game. You did.
That's even. I'm talking.
You felt, I think, alien on another planet was what you said.
Yeah, I felt like that was the stand-up set that I had. But even before that, I had a bad experience. Now,
you had a bad experience traveling?
Nope. It was ordering my favorite pizza in the world, and it taught me something about pizza, life.
Okay, good.
Minneapolis. I learned that people don't like. Hey, how you like it here in Minneapolis? They don't like that.
Yeah.
So I ordered. Now I don't think I'm going to say the name of the because I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it because I'm going to say what they did wrong and see if you agree with me. And nothing justifies me.
I think you can say. I mean, you've said the name of them with great glee so many times.
That's
on
true.
Show.
Yes, it is the people I've. Yeah, nothing justified me.
So who is it? What
DoorDash. Nothing justifies me grabbing him by his lapels.
You did DoorDash with that pizza a block from the hotel?
Okay. So that's exactly right. This is why it was a lesson to be learned by all concerned. First of all, I was so tired, but I didn't want to go to the restaurant. And now I'm telling everyone in America, these places like Black Sheep and other places that have been based like Black Sheep, they don't want you to take it home. I mean, like even in Mozart, they didn't even want you originally to be able to take it home at all.
Right.
And they accommodate for it. But what happened is that I put my address in, but the hotel didn't come up. Just the actual address of the hotel.
Right.
So I put inside the address of the hotel, then the room number I'm in and my last name. Right. But so what happened was they took it from Black Sheep. They come into the hotel, and all they know is my name is Andy, and they're here for Andy. They just the policy is they dump the food. That's the policy.
Yeah.
So my gripe is that this is not a good system. If all along the system they can't go to someone who's actually monitoring the wholesale. If the DoorDash person can't communicate with DoorDash to find out what my last name is,
right.
So.
But you can communicate with the DoorDash person.
No, because what happened was it says he's coming up the path, right? So then 5 minutes goes by from when he's approaching, right? I didn't think I'll run out to the lobby because I had put down my room number. I didn't know that they didn't have that. So then I try and get in touch with him. I don't know if it was a him. Gone. He's like, the number's gone.
Yeah.
Once they dump your food, you can't contact them. So anyway, here's the thing that did kind of crack me up. When you talk to them like a chat, they go into these things that's obviously they've been told to do, but it looks so ridiculous that it makes it you feel like there's no way they would ever try to solve the problem because they don't want to hear about the problem because they're saying like, I am so sad. This is not what all these kind of responses. This is not the way we want to do business. We know how upsetting this is to you and how frustrating it is. All of that is nonsense that's built into the software that they throw at you.
Right.
And so my point is that
because that's what people do want to hear. People want to feel like they're heard when they're
exactly.
Yeah.
But if I don't feel like I'm heard when obviously the way this company it's like the way they're doing business is to subcontract, basically. And they used to be the good thing was they'd say, we're on the way and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if it's like, it's the second time in a row that it's been dumped because of some mix up at the door where they didn't have a number or something like that. I actually called the one person.
So when you say dumped, they mean leave it at the front desk or they just.
So that's what happened with this.
Okay.
But once before, I was so upset, I called the guy and I said, where's my food? Where's my food? He goes, I have it. So he had dumped it by meaning he just was going to, whatever he was going to do with it in that case. And then I convinced him to not dump it. And then I tipped him again. In this case, 15, 20 minutes later, I call the front desk. They go, oh, well, we have that here.
Right.
But they didn't know who Andy was.
Which is reasonable. Giving them your last name would have helped at a hotel.
No, they knew who my last name was. But they didn't know when the guy came in and said pizza for Andy. It's DoorDash that never had my last name.
That's what I'm saying, is you didn't give them your last name.
I did give them in the thing where it says special things. Oh, and maybe you're right. You're saying I said the room. Maybe I assumed they would know my last name, and they didn't know my last name. But I did have the room number. So the point is that the pizza was ruined. Well, there's a couple of points. I mean, I don't want to be the complaining guy because I usually am not. I usually repress and don't ever, like, if the food's miscooked, that's great. If it's crawling around the plate and I want it to be medium,
right.
I don't usually say things.
Why is that a virtue, though?
It's not a virtue.
Okay.
It's not a virtue.
Right.
It's a reaction to trying to. It's a phony baloney thing that it's not a funny blunt thing, but it's like I don't want to make waves in any case at all.
Right.
So you could perceive that as nice sometimes, but in this case I was getting upset. So anyway,
not if you're going to shit talk them on your podcast afterwards. It's not nice.
Well, the thing is that what I was angered about was that at some point you're coming across as we're here for you. The one thing they should be able to do is to take care of a problem when the food doesn't get there. That's what I would think. But the other thing I learned was that pizza was ruined, completely ruined. And I'm not saying I didn't eat it over the next 3 days, but it did not even taste. 15 minutes later, and I had to go back to Black Sheep, I think 2 times more to have the experience of ordering that pizza right there, which it was still the greatest experience. I have never tasted a pizza as good as their pizza, and I'm not saying there isn't pizza as good, but I have never tasted a better pizza than their pizza, and it has to be, whereas I never realized how important, I guess, to all pizzas it is that, you eat them close to when they're hot.
Yeah.
But in this case, you wouldn't even know the pizza was the same pizza. I know it sounds petty. What do you think? Give me your impressions.
My real impression is I'm wondering how many listeners we've lost.
No, well, you could take the whole thing. You could take you could take the whole thing out. Is it that bad?
Yeah.
Oh God! How about the learning?
There was no funny parts. There was no funny parts at all to this story.
Oh well,
it was just whining about pizza.
Well, but okay, here's my problem with other things. Is like if I'll tell something I think is a funny story, and that doesn't have anything funny in it either. So I don't.
But at least that's at least your intentions are good. I don't know what this is.
Okay, my intentions are that people realize on these certain kind of coal-fired pizzas, you really should go to the place and eat it, or eat it immediately, because you're wasting your money on it.
Right.
And that's not true with all pizzas. So that maybe I should have submitted to the show in the form of an email. And the other thing I thought that you would be interested in, but obviously it was boring or just not interesting, is I do think, like, I had this optimistic view that a company like this kind of company could be.
But the thing that you're saying, which is the one thing they should be able to do is fix this problem with your food, is the one thing they can't possibly do.
Why?
Because it involves how the restaurant is operating and a specific individual on the ground.
No, forget the restaurant. Let's say take the restaurant out of it. Why can't the person delivering the food contact the person he's working for to know who the person is he's delivering food for? I would think that would be, they don't want you to have last names, but there's got to be a way, like, okay, well, the guy, I'm at a hotel, it says Andy.
Right.
Can you help me, DoorDash?
No, I'm not saying that there aren't weak links in the system. I'm just saying that, ultimately all they can really do from the Silicon Valley is give you your money back or give you a credit.
They didn't even. I asked for my whole money back. They gave me $15 back. But the thing is, I don't even really care about that. I care that I don't care about it in the way, right? But I care
but
that
the whole thing with the gig economy that this is based on, part of it is there is no training, and there is,
I mean, I guess so.
There isn't a built-in brand loyalty in all your employees.
Well, I still try and give brand loyalty. So, for example, I use Lyft instead of Uber because I think Uber has done evil things, and they were, giving money to Trump. Or, I mean, just they've had weird corporate things. But that may be it may be that Lyft is no better at all.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I feel good about the experience with, and then I'm sure to invent things that are different. I haven't had problems with Uber, but I start to invent this company Lyft that I know doesn't exist.
Right.
But there could be companies that exist like that. I don't think that just because you're in the business of, you could do the job. In fact, a lot of restaurants, and maybe this is what I'll start doing, a lot of restaurants are setting up their own system.
Right.
Where they get the money and it comes from them, and the software on some of them is better than any of the ones I've seen. So maybe it's time to not, I know what you're going to say, and you're going to say, look, this is what you can expect from these things. They're not perfect. Everyone knows they're not perfect, and our economy isn't perfect. But me assuming...
What I'm saying, though, I mean, the one optimistic thing I'll say is the getting food into your belly from a variety of restaurant scene now versus 10 years ago.
I've already used it twice since I've been home.
Yeah.
But I would never use it. It's like, here's the thing where I think it's just a minor gripe, because I think you could be like, I'm not Andy Rooney. I'm not going to go, yeah.
You're right, exactly.
Because he's alive.
No, because he was
dead.
No, jokes. He tried for jokes.
He never had a joke in his whole life. He did not try for jokes. I don't think it's good. And they try and sell you an extra thing, but you never need it. I've been dead 6 years, and I'm still annoyed. I can't even do any voices. That's how upset I am about the whole thing. But then I will take it back to just a personal person to robot or person to person. I feel it's like when you get that shtick and it's not working. It's not working on me, at least. It makes me angry.
Yeah.
I'd rather you have no shtick than I know you're upset. Because what they do is They don't know why. When you reach out for help, they have no idea why you're reaching out for help. Then they go, let me locate your schmoopadoopel.
Right.
I'm done. Well, okay, now you don't want me to do this. You don't want me to pre-screen topics with you. That wouldn't be good.
No.
It just didn't go. It's just one of those things that didn't hit.
I just think, I think you should pre-screen topics with you.
That's true. But I also think there's something pathetically funny to me about how, in a way, it did upset me. Because it's comically funny that would, because it's like, I line up all these things. I'm in Minneapolis. I can't wait to do my thing. And yeah, I could have just walked over, but I was so exhausted. And then it's like, I didn't have a good time. Things didn't go as I had planned.
Right. I'm just saying, I asked you how Minneapolis is, and it's a story about a bad pizza delivery.
Well, here's what I would say. To me, if I could have a ultimate theme of something, and go, this was what happened on a spiritual level in Minneapolis, then I would be different. But I think everything I do is like one example. This is an example of something. Just a boring example. But I could have written down notes from the week. But that's the only thing that's the thing that stuck out to me. Because but you would have wanted to hear more about the show. Why the show? But even that's not that interesting.
It's a little more on topic.
Okay, I'll tell you. It's on topic. I'm a comedian. All right. Well, I was very jet lagged, and I started to hate myself, and not hate myself. Just it's not hate. That's just anxiety.
Yeah.
And before I go on stage, and I'm worried about what I'm going to remember, what I'm not going to remember, that's all just anxiety. But it's easy for me to perceive the coming show like as something that could be bad. And It's like I don't even remember. It's like I actually, like many things in life, I over-exaggerate how bad something could be.
Right.
And I almost put myself into that. I don't so much do that anymore. When I first started, I'm sure every set was like crazy differences. But now...
Catastrophizing.
I catastrophize, which I love that expression.
I do too.
So...
no, but I think, even after 30 years even, like not feeling like you knowing what the fuck you're doing on stage still is scary. Like if you don't have your footing.
Well, because the reason is that it's not comparable to the first few years of comedy, which were different for you, but for me there was a lot of sheer terror then.
Yeah.
That I don't even think I would recognize as anxiety. You
Yeah.
know? But what's happening now is I know I can go on stage and not have, although I can be anxious to the point where my mind goes completely blank, because that's all anxiety too. But it's the same thing that's bothering me all the time, which is my reaction to what I have to do in life is to try and motivate myself by going, you idiot, but not like, I don't say that loud to me, you idiot, you need to do a good set tonight. But by the time I'm on stage, I've already had probably 1,100 or 1,200 conversations with myself that are unfriendly.
Right. About how the set that hasn't happened yet went.
Right. Yeah, but it's just like knowing, I mean, I talked about this in therapy today. It was like, my therapist got me and said, she goes, how long have you been doing this speech for? And I said, was it 23 years?
This is the 24th edition.
24th edition. She's like, she literally couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's like the way I'm talking about it, it's like, this is my big break, and if it doesn't go well, she's saying, don't you think that you can give yourself a little credit that you can do this, that you can do it, because there's a part of me that still wants to it's not self-sabotage, but it's whatever it is that is like wants to keep. I don't want to keep wrestling. I hate when I'm just sitting and yelling at myself.
Right.
I hate it.
But sometimes it's better than working.
I don't see it that way. I see that it's not better than working. No, it's, in fact, when I was able to release that.
I don't mean it's literally better than working, but it's like that's part of, some of it is just your brain putting up blocks to get in your way of work sometimes.
Right. Well, I think that might be more how it is for you, because you have you have a more friendly conversation with your creative voice in a way sometimes, like, of course I don't want to write this, and And me, it's almost like, oh my God, I wanted to get to a point where I want to write this. But what I'm starting to realize now is when I remove all of the negative motivations from myself, this work isn't that unpleasant. It's just like, I'm panicked. It's 2 weeks away. I should have written it a month ago. All that stuff is complete nonsense. It's all nonsense. There's no reason why I can't continue from this point forward working on the speech, right? So that's all. And I can tell my therapist this, like, I don't even really want to say this. I don't really want to say this to people because I think I know that there's a part of me that's like, I have OCD. I got OCD. Hey, didn't I tell you I got OCD? What do you expect from me? I got OCD because I'm not happy with how I relate. Like, like even saying to you on Friday, I'll get you the material. I always overpromise and underdeliver because I start to think you want the material a certain, and I go, yeah, this time I'll get the material to him in a certain way, quicker. But meanwhile, at the end of the day, what happens is I abuse I'll get it to you in a couple of hours thing, and I actually could go 3 days without getting it to you, which then could understandably cause you to get a little frustrated. But as my therapist says, I don't have any idea what you're thinking, and I hope that you're not thinking the things that cross my mind. I mean, it couldn't be.
Well, I kind of know how you think now, and that's why I'll respond with like no rush, things like that. So it's not so you aren't having that, So like I generally know that your first promise on something is bullshit.
Right. Well, then I'd like to. I don't want to go through life thinking. So the last thing I want to do is pretend like I'm sitting here expecting it to you. Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to give you a wide berth, frankly.
Right.
Because there's only very rarely is something urgent.
Yeah.
So I'm used to that lag time, but I'm not going that fucking Andy. I'm going, okay, I'll get it. If he says tonight, it means tomorrow morning.
Well, then the thing is like,
and as long as there's enough padding, I don't care.
Right. But sometimes the thing is that I would like to have a future life where I don't have to lie.
No, I understand that, but it's not really lying. I mean, I do the same thing. I mean, like yesterday I got, this was an unreasonable request basically from the record company, which was like, we need like, these things called liners for Pandora, where it's like, hey, this is J. Elvis Weinstein. Thanks for listening to my stuff. This next one is called The Jury Chunk. Hope you enjoy. Give it a thumbs up, will you? And that apparently helps the amount it gets played a lot.
Yeah.
And thumbs up matters too on Pandora. So they're like, it's best if you do like 3 or 4 for each track. Well, there's 13 tracks on the album. So, okay. So now we're talking 40 jokes basically. I have to write
do a joke,
and then record and then edit and then output each as a file. So, and it's like as quick as you can, it's like, well, you could have told me this before the album came out.
Right.
But now I have this clock ticking. I'm like, yeah, I'll try to do it today. Well, I couldn't fucking do it in a day. And it turns out I couldn't do it in 2 days because I had all this other shit going on. So, but I have that same sort of like conversation going on of like, I promise this, you got to get this done, but you don't want to fucking do it right this second,
Right, and the other thing is like, again, I don't mean to, I don't know if I should pay you, because I talked about you for a lot of the session, or exactly. But the point is, there's a very strong narcissistic streak that goes in my family. And the narcissistic streak is, that my therapist has to get me to realize, do you think maybe Josh has his own deadlines that he's, dealing with? And so it's like, and then because so he may say, hey, we got to draw up some ideas. But I took it as I sent you the stuff and you said, we got to drum up some ideas. So I didn't even look at what you wrote, that you had added it to it or anything.
Right.
I just looked at it like, there's nothing in here that I've come up with for the last 3 days.
No, and they're that what
right.
Obviously.
And so I spent an hour on the next email, which was better. It's like, I don't want to, because it's true. I'm worried. Obviously, my mind's all mixed up. Is he saying today? Is he saying, these are things that most people, normal people probably don't agonize about. But is he saying today? And then I can keep building a case for, it's not building a case. It's like, I don't want to get in trouble. But the truth is that I don't even see sometimes that, hey, I got this, I got that, and I've got these competing deadlines and whatever.
Right.
You know, so then the fact that we went back and forth with it, yes, the fact that it took me 2 hours to compose the emails is not a good thing, but the fact that we were able to resolve it, where my perception was that you were angry, which is all, I'm telling you, it's not realistic. It's not realistic.
No, I know. I'm just trying to navigate it. But
yeah.
I mean, I've, here's how it came, from my perspective.
This is what I'd like to hear.
Here's what happened. You sent me the thing. I said, I added it to the pile mentally.
You said, got it. You said, got it.
Got it. Cause you said, tell me you got it. So I did.
Yeah. Cause
and it was a page of jokes about, right?
I don't know.
It's about a page, so it's like, I looked at it and went,
has to be 2 pages of jokes.
Whatever case,
it is.
It was like, okay, well, everything I've written and everything you've written doesn't add up to a speech yet. And I need some topics to write.
Right.
So I'm not coming up with them on my own. So my solution was, hey, let's get together and talk topics so I can have some more fodder to write jokes for.
Right.
That is as simple as it is. We need to do this because that's what's going to move the ball forward, is
right.
where I'm coming from. So, and then you came back with, your response, which was, well, I have this thing tonight and we have the thing tomorrow night and and I'm like, okay. And I said,
I'd stare at you.
And I don't want to waste your time is what you said.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, it sounds like you don't want to do it. I'll just keep doing it. And then you're like, well, I do, it's not that I don't want to do it.
What's your impression of me?
I'm trying to just give it some tone, cause it's text,
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm telling you how I heard it. You hear me as the stern dick, apparently, so I can hear,
It's so funny. No, it's the stern dick is to me.
But it was like the stumbling block for me, and I said, well, this is what will help me. I don't remember what I wrote.
Yeah,
back,
you're saying that
like,
will help.
What I'm saying is what will help me is us getting together and talking about topics,
Right.
And I still feel that way.
Well, I want to get to
and then, but then I showed you as within the hour, like, hey, when I have an idea, here's 4 jokes.
Right. Yeah. That's well, that's true.
That James Bond run is a really good run.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, don't tip it. I don't know what I'm saying, but the thing was that,
but I'm really like sitting in this place where, especially I got a little frozen, when we were like, when you have such hard lines about who you don't want to talk about, that I'm like, okay, then help me. I need to find, I don't need you to give me jokes or premises. We just need to talk so some topics will shake out. Right.
But here's the other point of view on that. I feel like, in my mind that these other I'm not used to working with people. I think you're used to working with people.
Well, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. I'm going, this isn't even work. Let's have a conversation so I can work.
But in my mind, but before you said that part of it, I was like, in my mind, it's like, does he mean I have to come up with ideas and then pitch those ideas it's like I didn't understand and I didn't want to repeat things we've gone through before, and I think that's a mistake. I think we should just figure it out, because I'm not really saying, like, I think you have...
What's a mistake?
The idea that, like, I think it's a mistake, like, I don't think the truth is I'm going to never do something about this person, and then, it may be that I don't want to make a joke about a person, but it's not really like I'm always closed to hearing new ideas. It's just in that moment. And so when... I think the problem is communication sometimes, because I've never, like, I'll give you an example. Am I bothering you?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why you think
because I thought you were mad. It's so terrible. You shouldn't have to take responsibility for this. But like when I say, for example, like we've had discussions where you go, if I come up with a joke about Jeff Foxworthy, that's not necessarily a topic. But to me, that's how I come up with the topics, is writing the individual jokes.
Right. And
then that leads me down to where this is a theme or something. But everything I do is basically just, it's like individually created first.
Right. And I'm saying I work differently and I need your help to churn out more jokes to give to you.
Right.
It's literally that simple. I need fodder to write a joke. If you give me a sentence of something, I can write 4 jokes on it. You've seen
Right.
me do that. So but I need those sentences. I need those names. I need, anything, because I don't know where you're coming from, and it's your speech. I don't have attitudes about these things for the most part. I don't follow show business, for the most part.
That makes total sense.
So I need just topics that I can look up online even and go, oh, all right, there's a joke in that. But I just don't, it's like.
Right. But you see, the thing is, what my problem is I lock in everything that happened in the past, I lock it in as a known thing. So once I sent you a bunch of stuff and you said this is stream of consciousness.
No, I didn't say that about what you sent me.
A couple of years ago.
Oh.
See what I mean? You probably don't even remember it.
No, I don't. Because we go through this emotional roller coaster 3 consecutive years now.
Well, that is the thing. Is like I understand that, and that's what I am working on. That I think I'm getting a better at. In fact, I think I may have, in a way, gone over the hump.
Yeah.
So that
the hump for me is you're paying me this year, so I feel a little more sense of duty to the whole thing.
I think you've already earned your money.
Well, good.
I really do.
Good.
If you add up the amount of jokes,
joke to joke, I feel like it comes out at a pretty good per joke price. But I'm not done yet. We still have another week of hard writing to do, and I want to do it.
Yeah. So anyway, what I did was I canceled. I had an appointment tomorrow to go back to the hematologist, and there's no reason to have to do that this week.
Okay.
So I'm open all day tomorrow.
Okay, let's get together.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
I promise I won't make it hard on you.
You said that in an email, even.
Yes. I'm backing it up.
Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to have there can't be food?
There can be food.
Oh, baby.
I'll just sit there with a pad and jot things down.
Oh, baby.
That's all I need to do. I just need something to...
Why don't you follow me around and everything I say, you record on a thing? How about that?
How about you just record yourself walking around talking to yourself?
Isn't that what like people like Lenny Bruce? I mean, I really had that fear of like, I'm not doing that, but people like Lenny Bruce, because maybe drug problems, whatever, but he record every single thing, and he was going to turn it into something.
Yeah. Well, drug addicts learn quick.
Or they don't.
Right. With that...
Ooh, that was good. Oh.
Woo. You feeling good?
Well, the one thing I did get from therapy today was that I can... It's so weird to say to myself...
Josh is A-okay.
Well, yeah, she has her own issues about you. No,
I actually would love to know what she thinks about me at this point.
She can't. That would be terrible. Oh no. Well, I think she does a good job of. The only time she goes to make a conclusion about something is when I leave out so much information.
Wait till she finds out I don't exist.
That would be bad, wouldn't it? So. Oh no! Like one day, and I go, look, this has been so helpful for me the last 3 years, and it was covered by SAG, but. And I feel bad about it, but I made up a podcast and I made up another Jewish fella. And
it's Fight With Myself Club.
Now, I always come up with scenarios around which she would be disappointed with me.
That'd be a good one.
All right, so we're ready to go. We're
good attendance at the shows last week?
Yeah, I had fun, and I also went to eat with Louis, and on the way before I met with Louis, I watched the documentary.
Yes.
And
finally something put the pressure on you.
Yeah, well, it was.
I'm going to have dinner with the guy it's about.
Yeah, it was, 2 things came. It was like triangulation. So, but also, whenever I eat with Louis, I am curious. It is like 2 people like the same thing. We both like comedy. So
sure.
It's something to talk about.
Food.
And good food. And the food there has not... it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I had the lobster and the eggs and the
lobster egg
shtick.
Yeah.
And I had your spaghettini with red wine.
Red wine spaghetti is really good.
And when he also always orders
lobster and egg bruschetta is what it is.
Oh.
And, did you get the ribs?
No, we got chicken.
You got chicken? Okay.
Yeah. Do you like the chicken?
I like the chicken.
Chicken's good.
It's good, yeah.
But you like the ribs too.
I like those ribs, yeah.
So... But the documentary, which I've already told you this, but I thought I would say it on the show. I loved the documentary that you made of Louis. I know that you can't release it commercially because you have Hey Jude, or maybe Yesterday would be more expensive now.
Yeah.
But it was really amazing. And the part at the end where he goes, I don't care I don't care what other people think of me was something that I needed to hear for myself.
Yeah.
In every sense of how he meant it, which was, I'm going to do what I'd like to do, even though Scott Hansen made me. And that was what was else was so great was all these, like, I only knew about Scott Hansen from what all the comics from Minneapolis said about him.
Right.
So you're actually, this was to me everything I'd like in a movie, because it sets up the plot to me is the emotional thing that he went through, and he, Lewis, I didn't even remember, maybe I know at one point that he'd been in a horrible car accident.
Yeah.
And, he invests his family's money in his thing, and they keep investing more. And then he gets screwed kind of by Scott, and he said he uses the rage as a motivation. And the thing is, when I'm looking at those things of Scott Hansen, I mean, I can't imagine that what he did went wrong. He seemed like
right. Oh man, he was a piece of work. He still is, I'm sure. But
I love those articles where it's always the person is doing like the three comics, or not always, but they're got a funny face on. He had like 7 pictures of him doing something wacky,
big mugging headshots always.
But when Lewis said at one point there were 50 clubs that he booked, I asked him about that again. He said, yeah, there were, like, throughout the Midwest too, but there weren't 50 Scott Hansen things.
No, I mean, I'm trying to think. There might. I don't think he ever got up to 50 rooms, but I bet he had at one time probably 20 rooms.
Yeah.
Between one-nighters and actual clubs.
The other thing is that I'm 2 years older than Lewis, so it was good for me to hear the history of someone's life who's basically my age.
Yeah.
And in the same field, because it started to put pieces together for me. And so I think I had forgotten that he took over the club at the worst time you could take over comedy clubs.
Yeah, 1992.
The whole scene had, and in fact, the scene, you could argue, that scene never came back in a way. Like the chains of Funny Bones. Maybe there's still chains.
Right.
But it wasn't like that. It became cheesy, so it wasn't like the exciting new thing everyone's doing is stand-up comedy.
Right.
And by deciding to open it up to college-age kids, I would love to hear things like, that's a businessman, and I can relate to him having innovation in what he tried to do, and saying, and by the time they're 21, and of course those kids are probably just completely, amazing comedy fans who came up in that time period.
Yeah, well, his whole plan was really to, the comedy scene had gotten so bad and the audiences had gotten so tired of it that he just really realized that he had to start over, and he had to basically train a new generation of Minneapolis comics and a new generation of Minneapolis comedy audiences simultaneously. So he basically raised both together through his club and created an environment where, both sides of the equation were high quality.
Yeah. And how about the fact that, I don't know I can't imagine when I had to be bumped down to middle. I can't say Lewis, I'm sure, saw my spark of talent. I mean, in other words, it was just a very stressful time for him. But to come back there years later and to get rebooked into the club.
That's the thing. I mean, you generally, if you get bumped from headliner to feature act during the week,
usually the end.
That's kind of your last week there generally.
Yeah, unless you want to go back to opener.
And I was there with you 2 years ago or whatever when he goes, as long as I have a club, you have a week. So
that was the thing I also didn't delude myself into thinking, but really did feel like, because I was talking to Lewis about size of venues. Theaters. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, and I've heard this a lot of times, they have this Comedy Central Cluster Fest or something in San Francisco, where a lot of Jesselnick and comics who can play bigger rooms, but just by the nature of it being a bigger room, you do lose the intimacy of comedy. And I felt like when I was doing the shows, this is exactly the amount of people that's kind of perfect.
300 feels great.
Yeah. So, it's like, the things that bother you in life or can bother you are the things that you're passing by when they're happening. This is why I got into it. I'm not saying I do, because I think I do appreciate that this is what it's about. This is all that it's about, that's all it's about right now.
Right.
And it's pure joy because it made me, when I'm not scared of the crowd, I'm not scared, then I can really like have a lot of fun with the experience.
That's the thing about that room is just you never, there's bad nights because it's a club,
Yeah.
But it's like when everything is working right there, it is that feeling of like, yeah, this is exactly what it's supposed to be.
Everything's facing the stage.
There's not fucking chicken wings going through the room, and there's there's not all that shit happening in that room. It's just like it's really about what it's supposed to be about. For me, it's home, so it's extra. It's extra good, but it's different even than going to one of those chain clubs and having a great set on a Saturday night. It's still a different feeling because there's all this other commerce going on,
right?
With dinners and shitty whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed, when I've been on the road more in the last couple of years, is it's like this is a much more corporate thing than it was at the height the first time around,
Mm-hmm.
And you feel that. You feel like there isn't like that club owner person. There's like a guy with a headset who's the club manager,
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of places like that left, I don't think.
No, and the thing is, like, he had the second night was something called Insider's Night.
Yeah, that's good.
And it was like, I got like I'm
they
always
fill it up because
they fill it up, and then when they said my name, like you could tell some people knew who I was. It was like it worked. The thing worked. The crowd was pumped, and it was so he's really created something that's pretty amazing. But the thing is, I felt more comfortable in the club this time than I've ever felt because I do feel that when I look back at things, I remember being very angry in certain parts of the times when I was on the road. Very angry and angry at the crowds and not able to understand how to, because I'm always in a way over exaggerating how I'm doing.
Right.
Like, so so I feel more home there. Like it's my home club because I'm also better at processing what's happening in the room as opposed to I was doing, 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It was like, I suck, you suck, I suck, you suck.
Right.
So it was good.
Good.
And one other thing I want to say was that Lewis told me something that I think was very important for me to know, and that's something you probably already know. Okay, so the food in Hong Kong is amazing, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I said to Lewis, I said, well, how about Minneapolis? He goes, they never have had great Chinese food. I said, how about New York? Nope.
No, it's here.
It's L.A.,
San
Monterey
Gabriel Valley. Monterey Park.
And also it's Vancouver, I think he said.
Yeah.
You know that too?
Yeah. From talking to him, mostly.
Well, why I should be pursuing that when I go to bed. Now, what are these?
No, I'm trying to get him. I mean, he keeps threatening to come out here to do a big eating trip, so we can go out there and do it.
But this dim sum is amazing out there, supposedly.
Yeah. And that's really the Hong Kong specialty.
Oh.
I mean, there are other dishes and stuff, but like the sort of staple Hong Kong like thing they do best is dim sum, I think.
And that to me is like the best version of small plates, or it's my favorite way to eat.
No, when we went there, Lewis had his extended family had this private room reserved at this dim sum place, and he had invited me and my crew to come and eat there, and so we got the wave after wave of just great stuff from this great place, because his sister especially is very connected in Hong Kong, so she knows all the places and gets treated very well at them.
See, I thought my image was like I thought you were eating like street food or weird food.
No, well, at some point I had to cut the cord on it because like Lewis had booked me and my crew the night that the comics were coming to town. Yeah, because we had gotten there a couple days earlier, so I could shoot some B-roll and stuff. He had booked us into this big fancy buffet, and I was like, you know what? I got to shoot, Lewis. I can't do the buffet. These guys are coming in. I got to get footage of that. I got to get that. And it was like when he first realized, like, oh shit, Josh is working hard. It's like he's turning down this amazing thing.
Wow.
And I was so glad I did because I got great stuff that's in the movie from that night. But it was like, okay, I appreciate the hospitality, but I have 10 days to make a movie.
Yeah.
And I need to get some film through these cameras.
Well, also he told me, and these are things that I suspected on my own, although I grew up with New York Chinese food, so I kind of have a taste for it.
Right.
But I've been to Chinatown, and it's not that great. I mean, what he's saying is true, and also London is not that great.
Right.
And I had that feeling when I'm over there. I mean, to me, anything that's new and interesting in London, I'm going to eat, and the duck. But it's like, now I know where the places are, and so if I go to Vancouver, I'm going to have to hit him up.
Yeah, he did a trip last year with his family there.
He says he wants to take you to Hong Kong for a few days.
Oh God, I keep telling him I want to, because I didn't get to be a good tourist when I was there.
So it's like going to be.
I so want to go back and eat my way through that town with Lewis.
And then, should there be a big protest about the mainland then?
Sure.
He also told me a lot.
Keeps them out of the restaurants.
He told me a lot of things about politics over there, too, that was interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting place. I really like that city.
I have a yen for it. Is that the wrong country?
Wrong country.
Oh, fuck. What's the money in China?
Yuans.
But when you have a yen for something, that actually became an expression. But it's Japanese, unfortunately. Uh-huh. Which doesn't fly.
No, but it transitions me into Yojimbo. Or Yojimbo. I'm not sure
I didn't see it, but you saw it.
I saw it. And,
all right.
And you're not going to watch it, so.
Oh, I'm not going to watch it.
So that's why I put it off another week.
Yeah, okay, so give me the lowdown.
Akira Kurosawa, obviously.
Akira Kurosawa. Oh, it's not Yoshi Yamamoto.
Right. It's basically a Japanese Western, or an Eastern, if you will.
Is this the Magnificent Seven precursor?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that's the Seven Samurai.
Gotcha. I mean, I didn't get you, but I got you now.
But it's Toshiro Mifune as a Ronin.
I love him. I mean, I love him as an actor, because I've seen a few of the movies.
And he's great. And it kind of in some ways, it kind of feels like that movie Unforgiven that Eastwood did. There's really?
No. What is it? The movie where he has the car?
No. And
that's
the
Grand
orangutan.
Am. What's it called?
The orangutan. You mean that one?
No. What's the Grand Am? He has a Gran Torino.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't know this movie. Is this his Western?
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw it. Is it great?
It's like.
Is it forgivable that I didn't see it?
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm going to see it.
No, it's a great movie.
Right.
Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, really good.
All right. Well, I didn't see it. What do you want me? What do you want me to do? Kill myself in front of you? Little Harry Carey.
So it's the story of this Ronin who basically wanders into this town that's in the midst of a gang war between these two gambling things, and it's very much like a Western. The plot is basically he goes to town and gets these criminals to either kill each other or he kills them. By the end.
What is a Ronin?
Ronin is a samurai without a master, without a feudal lord that he's serving. He's
on his own,
a samurai for hire.
He's a one-offer,
right?
So then you got.
So it's very much like the Wandering Gunfighter. I mean, it was very
But all sword work.
Yeah, it was also there was one gun in the movie. There's one character with a gun in the whole movie,
and everyone laughed at him. Hey, what are you doing?
But there's also some the acting is sort of all over the place, and you kind of wonder where, because I don't really know Japanese culture.
Right.
There's times you go, wow, that seems racist. And you go, oh, no, wait, it's a Japanese movie about Japanese people.
Well, Mickey Rooney wasn't.
But there's characters doing sort of almost what Mickey Rooney was doing, but within the context of an actual Japanese movie. So you got, so you wonder
how it was perceived.
Well, you wonder how much is actual acting and how much is clowning.
Oh,
because I don't know the actual range of Japanese personalities necessarily. When I was in Japan, I saw some huge things, but it was always when people were drunk.
Right.
Every other time people tend to be very reserved.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. I mean, it's a good movie. It's worth seeing. It's, because it's Japanese and subtitled, it's sometimes hard to keep your attention going.
How long was it?
It was under 2 hours.
Okay, so I would have made it through.
You would have made it through, but I think you would have lost a lot just because you have to pay such close attention. Because of the subtitles.
And you know that I would have been doing it this morning.
Yeah, you would have been doing it on the
Okay, subtitles. I like the clothing.
There was lots of things in common with American Westerns, and I don't know how much of that is, I know Kurosawa was certainly influenced by John Ford, and,
Oh, I see.
But it's hard to know
who's influencing who.
Yeah, it's hard to know how much of the vernaculars exist separately.
Yeah. Did you ever see that one, the cursing Western thing on HBO? The guy, Deadwood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I never got into it, but I never watched it really.
I got into it for the first couple seasons, and then I kind of fell off towards the end of the second.
But once you get into it, it's kind of cool, right?
There's great stuff in it, and Ian McShane is great, How
does it compare to the Seth MacFarlane Western?
It compares unfavorably.
Because the Western... What has... this could be good for the... what has Seth MacFarlane not explored that you'd like to see him explore? He's been on space.
Didn't we already? I wrote that bit in.
Oh, God damn it.
It's on the list.
That's a bad thing. Like, how do I know anything I've ever come up with is my own?
Did you try any of the jokes last night from the list?
No.
Oh, Andy.
You know why? Andy.
Speaking of putting it out, my album, Chunks, premiered on Friday. Last Friday.
It was on the top 4 or something.
It was number 1 when it came out.
Oh, my God.
It debuted at number 1 thanks to all the Thought Spiralers who pre-ordered it.
That is so good.
And then it hovered in the single digits for a couple days.
Oh, in the top 10?
And then it rolled down the list. And then it bounced back up to like number 9 yesterday. And then it was like off the charts today. But the iTunes charts are all about waves of,
Yeah.
I don't know how many purchases tip the scales there, but I don't think it takes a lot. But it was fun. It was a fun little screen grab to be able to get the number 1 album.
Has the reaction been positive?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I haven't gotten tons of feedback about it. I think like most people, if buy something and don't listen to it right away.
Right. I haven't listened to it yet. That's not good.
Yeah. Will you?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Right. Should I do that for next week?
If you'd like.
Let's do that.
Okay.
What's it called again?
I wasn't going to assign you a movie.
I know, because I wouldn't do a movie.
Yeah.
But I think this is something that
you can walk around with.
Yeah.
Like a podcast.
With walk around money?
Yes.
Can you tell I'm not high?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I smoked at like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, it wore off.
Andy Warhoff.
Stop.
Oh, you did that. It's to try to remember how you did this, because I never saw you do one eyebrow. Why don't we teach us a workshop?
A what?
A workshop, podcast workshop. Well, I guess the funny faces won't.
I like to already think of this as a podcast clinic.
Our show?
Yes.
So we're giving a clinic on podcasting.
Yes.
That sounds it sounds right, but it sounds a little egotistical.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to, instead of your stuff, which we've done the last couple of weeks, I'm going to do a track from Chunks.
Why not? That's perfect.
And
why am I saying it so
except for
weirdly?
A bunch of people have probably already heard it. But
I think you should do it.
All right. We'll do a short one. Let's just do the tax chunk.
Okay. I can't believe we haven't done it yet on the show.
There it is. We'll be back. So I'm in a good mood. I finished my taxes. Thank you very much. Thank you. I heard these 2 young guys bitching about that today at lunch. They were just like, I hate being a grown-up. Taxes. I hate adulting. Adulting. If you're using the word adulting, you are not in danger of it. And I don't really think that it applies to taxes for me. I am never more childish than when I'm doing my taxes. Whining, procrastinating, lying. Yeah, I'm not good at organization, and I'm self-employed. It's not good. It's not a good situation. Because taxes, I have to get all these different forms from all these different people. I did all the, I write, I do stand-up. I was in a movie this past year. I actually had thank you very much, yes. I had a lead role in a movie, which is weird because I am not an actor. And I'm not saying that to be modest. I'm not an actor. I don't have an agent. The director was a fan of my podcast, called me up and said, I want you to play this role. I said, I don't think you do. He said, I do. I said, well, then it's your problem now. So I did the movie. I had a great time. It's called The Fiddling Horse. It's coming out this year. And I thought it was a great little story. The people who don't like that story, I found, are my actual actor friends. They aren't fond of this story. Oh, really? Really? A lead role? That's great. No audition. Congratulations. I'm like, dude, if that's you acting happy for me, no wonder you're not working. I don't like being self-employed. I'm a terrible boss. I'm a terrible employee. We fight all the time. Stop smoking pot at your desk. You're a hypocrite. I saw you doing it yesterday. Well, I'm the boss. Well, how long is that going to last when people find out how often you sexually abuse me? Hashtag me. And
that
we're
was
back.
funny.
Thank you.
So, what kind of mics did you use again on that shoot? I am a moron. I can't do anything normally. Why can't I do things like this? You'd think it'd be easier for me to do okay, we're coming back from break.
You'd think, but
You'd think.
Then you wouldn't be you.
Oh, Josh.
You want to just dive into questions
I think
and
so.
see if we can get a laugh this hour?
Well, oh my God, that hurt. Well, what?
I said we. Let me just, as long as you understand.
Why? Are you scared to have a show that's under 2 hours? I mean, do we get a lot of feedback? Can you cut out the... do you get people saying, I listened to it in double speed?
I gotta believe people do.
No.
Yes.
You think... Well, then, God, the delight that spreads over your face when you get a chance to do an impression.
You're mistaking delight for just expression in general.
Well, yeah, I don't. To me, people should keep it stoic.
Let's go to questions.
We have people have questions about Andy and Josh. Boop 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 ba doop boop. Squeak. He's a Jew. I'm a Jew. When we get together, that adds up to 2. It's Thought Spiral Questions.
Jeffrey Castel de Oro says,
Ooh.
The Columbo with Little Richard that Andy Kindler mentioned was shot at the Palomino Club.
Oh, I gotta
Among
tell
other
Susan
great
that.
things, Columbo's very interesting time capsule for Los Angeles history.
That's because Susan used to shot a visual series about.
Yeah, we
the
talked about
Palomino.
that when you went to the anniversary show.
Yeah, and of course, if she would have been watching it with me, she would have recognized the Palomino.
She probably would have.
Yeah, but I don't. Those are hard for me to. I don't usually get those.
Tweet Bahara says, I'm writing a novel about a young Andy Kindler coming of age in the burgeoning 80s comedy scene. It's called The Kvetcher and the Rye, and it's W-R-Y. So, extra little Chaotic Neutral says, hey guys, loved finally getting to listen to the #1 comedy album Chunks. Does this mean we can expect Andy to take Josh down a peg at the State of the Industry? Only if I write it for him.
That would be nice if you did write 3 solid jokes for me, and then I'll say,
No, it's like it would have the same problem as so many of your premises, which is you have to explain what it is first.
People love that part of it.
Sure.
They love when I say, let me tell you why it was funny. They like that.
Yeah. Chris Olson says, hey, gentlemen, need some advice on how to commemorate my 16th year of sobriety coming up in August. Congratulations.
That's great.
Thanks again for helping me survive Monday evenings. Chris in that big city in Japan.
Oh, man.
Well, congratulations, Chris.
How should he celebrate?
Yes. Sushi, probably.
Well, yeah, but that would be my thing. I mean, sushi And I'm trying to think of a celebratory drink. All I can think of is coffee.
Yeah. Tea is pretty big in Japan.
Try the tea when you get. But you should definitely do something fun. When I was a kid, twice we went on a bowling birthday party, and I've never forgotten it till this day.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be good, a bowling.
Sure. Japanese bowling has to be.
How's that go?
Has to have some. Oh, don't.
No, don't do that. No. Is that not good? Oh. I couldn't even think of anything insulting to say. I mean, I kind of did, but it was all,
Tweet Bahar's back with another pun. Shouldn't there be a supermarket franchise called Food Chain? Maybe a fast food joint. See, Food Chain.
Oh, the food chain. Yeah. I don't think that's bad. And in fact, I'll tell you this right now, Tweet Bahar. These should be places.
Wow, Tweet's back again. Tweet, come on.
Tweet,
Congrats, Andy, on a clean and clear scoping. And congrats, Josh, on your recent positive checkup. Love and positive vibes to Clyde. Wow, a lot of good vibes in that. See, now I feel bad.
Yeah, for slam. Well, take that.
I should have just read that one.
That one, then you would
have dumped the 2 puns.
Yeah, I am very excited about the endoscopy and the colonoscopy. And I went to my dentist today, and he was going to put the permanent crown in, but he said, I gotta relax the whatever. It's not exactly TMJ, but it's something similar.
All right.
So I have to relax it.
I didn't think it was really TMJ. I thought you were using that as just.
I was using
my jaw hurts. It must be TMJ.
My mother has Parkinson's. My mom got both of her.
I can't say tempular mandibular.
Who's that person? I like that. I can't say. My mom had both eyes done it's like
plastic surgery or cataract?
No, yeah, she did because you should see she's going in next week for a 14-hour varicose vein convention. No, she had something like she got her eyes even corrected or something to fix the cataracts, and I don't understand.
Yeah, but it worked.
She's alive. She survived both operations. We did one eye, 1 week.
Can she see better?
Well, I think she can. The thing is, we were trying to dissuade her from it.
Yeah.
Because she had just been, if you remember, in April or May, she was doing not so good.
Right.
Now she's good, but how good, and you want to push it? The point is, if a 90-year-old person wants to do something, it's very hard to dissuade them.
Yes.
You can't convince them with anything.
Right.
They've been around. So I think she's happy. I think, and then hopefully this will be it for the operation.
I hope so. Jordy says, "Rest in peace, Rip Torn," whose credits include a turn as a villain on Columbo. Favorite Columbo villain, Jack Cassidy or Johnny Cash? Having good thoughts for best friend of the show, Clyde. Thank you, Clyde. As I said, much better. We're very happy about that. Allison and I were both sort of going, it's a fucking miracle.
It's so great. And you're still taking it easy?
Yeah, he's still in protective custody because now it's saving him from himself.
Does he know that he's getting better?
Yeah, now he's today. Actually, Sunday was the first day where he was very much himself, and today he was like, "I'm fine, okay, I'm fine."
So he's going
now.
everywhere?
He's starting to resent the confinement and trying to. You can see him trying to maybe I can sneak by him to get up those stairs now.
So he still has to be carried up the stairs.
Yeah, I'm still carrying him.
Forever?
It's fucked up my back pretty good the last couple of weeks.
Why are you doing? Why don't you get I will pay for a stair lift.
But
please let me buy a unicorn stair lift for your house.
Please do. Have
you seen them? My mom has one.
Yeah, if there's one with a cage.
Oh, for the doggies to...
Yeah, I don't think they'll sit in the chair.
Well, okay, Dennis Miller. Is Dennis Miller on why unicorn stair masters aren't good? Look, Cha-Cha, you want to drop your dog from 3 stairways? All right, I'm done.
Just answer the question, will you? Favorite Columbo villain?
Okay, I would say
Johnny Cash or Jack Cassidy.
They're both excellent. I think Jack Cassidy is my favorite Columbo villain.
Yeah,
but he's also an amazing actor. But also Johnny Cash was great too in it.
I never saw either. So.
Oh, and what was the one more other question about Columbo? Was it?
Rest in peace, Rip Torn.
Rip Torn. And I don't think I've seen the Rip Torn Columbo. So,
or maybe you did and just it didn't stick as Rip Torn.
And that's why I would like to see it. Well, it's a whole wonderful world for me because me and the wife enjoy those Columbos, and and we're doing a pretty good job of limiting our news consumption.
Yeah. Just one more question.
Yeah, is that your Columbo?
No, I was having an aneurysm.
Do you have that annually? I call that an annualism. I'm not going to stop with the puns till you punch me in the face.
Alrighty.
Stop it. Josh, that's not funny. I can't even...
You're right.
I can't hit myself hard, though. I'm afraid to do that. I'm not a trooper like you who's walking the boards a lot.
Right.
You did all your own stunts in the movie, right?
I did. Setex III says, can I recommend The Verdict for your homework? It's a great movie. He says, great movie, plus James Mason in a great role. It is a great movie. I've seen it more than once.
I haven't seen it.
Have you never seen The Verdict? Again.
Is that Paul Newman?
Yeah. In the role he should have gotten the Oscar for.
James Mason. James Mason. I'm Joseph Mengele. Do you want to? Oh, we're not watching it. We'll put it on the list of things we might do, right?
You put it on the list under Unforgiven of things you should watch.
Yeah, right, exactly. There has to be something in it for you if we're going to both watch a movie.
But I think I'm willing to start going back and rewatching some movies if it'll get you to see them.
How about It's a Wonderful Life with James Stewart? Would you do that?
Oh, the one with James Stewart?
Yeah, around Christmas. When we do around Christmas.
All right, fair enough.
Because I'd love to hear it. The thing with that guy, Potter, right?
Yeah.
What he's saying in that one scene is,
yeah.
You called me names in the old days,
right.
and you thought you were slick.
Right.
Now who's...
Right. I think you're paraphrasing it quite well.
Merry Christmas, you old savings and loan. Honk, honk.
It's building and loan.
What's that?
It's building and loan.
Savings and loan. Not only do you have a computer, not only do you have an...
Merry Christmas, you old building and loan. Merry Christmas, Emporium.
Merry Christmas, Walmart.
Merry Christmas to you in jail.
Maybe it's because you're a Jew that you're able to enjoy that even more. So.
I love that so much.
I don't know where my money is.
You once called me an insolent Jew. Well, what are you but an insolent goy? Miserable little Gentile crawling in on your hands and knees.
He should have been...
With nothing but mayonnaise on a corned beef sandwich.
Do you think he should... And the one scene, the 10-minute thing where he gets mad, that was very stunning for me as a child. Like, he's just, stop playing that piano, Lisa. Lisa. He yells at her.
Yeah.
Stop playing it. And so it's like, what the hell has happened?
I like it as Tommy's walking, going,
excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. What's that one?
I burped. While they're arguing. Walking around.
Excuse me. And who's the tough guy who owns the bar? Is that Sheldon Leonard?
Well, Mr. Martini owns the bar in Bedford Falls.
And that's Sheldon Leonard?
No, Mr. Martini. But Sheldon Leonard is Nick.
Oh, right.
We serve hard drinks for men who want to get drunk fast. And we don't need characters around to give the joint atmosphere. Now, do you get me, or do I have to slip you my left as a convincer? Out you two pixies go. Through the door or out the window.
Coming this Christmas, if we go the Patreon route, you will also get...
And that's another thing. Where do you get off calling me a Patreon user?
You have to do it. If you join at the $100 level, you will get... Josh will do the entire movie of It's a Wonderful Life. Awooga. What's that one?
I'll do your outgoing message as Sheldon Leonard. You've reached Debbie. Leave a message or out you two pixies go.
Well, Justin, you know Justin who does the podcast in Minneapolis?
Yeah.
He told me I should do this cameo
He's
thing.
a listener.
He is a listener.
He's a Thoughts by our listener.
He also has a love for stand-up.
Yes, he does.
But he said...
he's a good interviewer.
He's excellent. He said, I should do the cameo thing, but it sounds like, I don't know, you know what that is?
Yeah.
It's a company. And then, I don't know.
Hi, it's Andy Kindler. Happy birthday. Is it spicy? Hi, it's Andy Kindler. Congratulations. Is it spicy?
Happy bar mitzvah to Norman Orgenberg. How was your bar mitzvah? Was it spicy?
I don't understand why a 13-year-old wants this, but happy bar mitzvah.
That's
Is it spicy?
I have to use it. It's spicy.
Steve and Debbie, happy anniversary. Is it spicy? Ka-ching.
Is it spicy? Ka-ching. Or if you order 4 Andy Kindler cameos for all your family, you get it for the low, because we're trying to think of what the price would be, because he said there's some reality show people for $5.
Yeah.
Do it. That's not good.
Is that worth it?
I don't think so. But it's $75.
I'll get you your cameo tonight. Wink.
I don't know. It's one of those things where you just make it whenever you go, and because I think Gilbert Gottfried makes them, a lot of them.
I think so, yeah.
But I just can't.
But Gilbert is sort of shame-free.
Yeah, his character. I have a character. Well, that's for his character.
Steve and Debbie, happy anniversary. Is it spicy?
Gavin McLeod and Tony Curtis wish you.
Happy anniversary, Debbie. Happy anniversary, Tony. I hope you have many happy returns. So do I. I'm killing an hour 2. Hour 2 is really where it's at.
If they can't afford Gilbert, you have Josh Elvis does.
I'll do it for $5. Affleck.
And the Martian came off the plane, and he came up to me and said, Ben Gazzara is a good actor. And also, how's Eddie Bernstein's bar mitzvah? Is this funny?
Todd Lindsley says, I often think, man, I love these guys. I really want to hang out with them. But then I look at my podcast app and realize we just did. Thanks for the content. You have lightened many a mental and emotional load. You're the best. Thanks, Todd.
That's great. That is so cool.
And it is pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've hung with us, not on the podcast. It's not any better.
You don't think so?
No.
But how about when we're out?
There's food sometimes.
There's food sometimes. I get the feeling when we go out, it's very much like the movie Swingers. You know what I'm saying? Hip Hollywood guys going out. Hey, Eddie. Hey, Stevie. Boom. See you at the thing.
Oh, I saw it as when you said it's like the movie Swingers. It was something that was cool 25 years ago.
You wanted to go with a joke. Okay.
Mark Thompson says, has stand-up ever been accurately portrayed in movies or television?
Yes, in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Because often in the 50s, often people have seen the ghost of Lenny Bruce appear. Well, Punchline didn't do it.
Punchline didn't do it. The one you were in, I'm Dying Up Here, didn't really do it.
No.
Mrs.
But
Maisel didn't do it.
It did some good things. It did some good dramatic. What was the one you said after it?
Yeah, I thought yours. It portrayed the world of stand-up better than stand-up.
Yes.
But even that was,
So, I don't like,
that was melodramatic.
I liked the movie Lenny when I was a kid, but now I don't like it knowing who Lenny Bruce is. Yeah. It's not an accurate thing.
Right.
He doesn't seem like a stand-up in that movie. It doesn't happen.
Well, I made a little movie called I Need You to Kill, which I think does portray, I mean, obviously it's a dog.
I think you're right.
But vibe-wise, I stand behind it.
And I'm surprised that we're not coming up with anything else, because maybe there is nothing. I'm not saying, you have to like Josh's. Well, those are documentaries, but also I can't think of any right now, any movie that's captured it.
No, I don't think so.
Crashing and Pete Holmes.
Well, there was stuff about that.
That did, yeah.
Yeah, that did.
Yeah.
But
I actually, that show could be a guilty pleasure type of thing, but when it goes back to Pete Holmes and his thing, that's where
that's where
me.
he should feel guilty.
How's he laugh?
Dan Wade says, hey guys, I've been suffering lately from a bad case of imposter syndrome. Do you ever have doubts about yourself professionally, and how do you work through it? This is obviously a question directed at Josh. I don't suffer imposter syndrome, but I do, I certainly suffer from career anxiety from time to time, and, the smaller thoughts of that, of where do I fit in, the more high schooly thoughts. But I tend to, I don't know, I tend to not live there, I tend to not settle into that spot. I think my arrogance has prevented me from having imposter syndrome, because there's plenty of times where I should have felt imposter syndrome because I was actually an imposter, directing movies and doing various things that I've done, but acting in a movie, exactly, another key example.
Well, I think of imposter as like, I feel as if I don't feel comfortable going out on stage type of thing. So
yeah, but that's not imposter syndrome.
No,
that's not. I'm faking it. I should. I'm getting away with something. Is what imposter syndrome really is. Is this people are going to discover I'm a fraud?
Oh yeah.
And I don't really have that, because I've never. I don't think I've ever. Not since I was a kid, a teenager, or a young man. I don't feel like I've ever been posing as anything I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've been brazen about the areas that I've marched into, but I haven't been irresponsible about it in the sense that I did it with other people's money, or I wrote a check that my ass couldn't cash, kind of thing. But my insecurity is always about disappointing myself. It's always about not living up to what I think I should be doing but that's a creative thing, not a career thing for the most part.
Yeah. It makes sense. My things are more just all version of the same thing. It's variations of OCD, worrying. So I could worry but I wouldn't have imposter. See, I think I don't have it then. Mm-hmm. So I have a tendency to go, well, I don't have that, but I can feel terrible on stage.
Right.
I did and early on when I had that whole year of what hand am I holding the mic in, and that's not imposter syndrome. That's just like,
right.
I couldn't imagine myself as a comedian syndrome.
That was just myopia, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, any career comes with insecurity. Showbiz, it's built in.
Yeah.
But like at this point in my career, I'm not comparing myself to anybody anymore, because I don't see someone really comparable.
Right.
There's certainly people more talented and, comparable in that way, but I don't see a lot of people who are in my little showbiz general practitioner kind of niche that I've
well, the thing is, your niche is
stumbled into the hole of.
Your niche is you do many things, but your brand of humor is I don't want to call it a brand, but it is different than ever. That's the uniqueness I think that everybody who I love has. It's like I could approximate something you could. It's fun when we write. And we can write like hacky things in my voice type of thing. So those, but no one quite sees things the way you see it. Just like, for example, in that documentary, when he says, it's a 5-year plan or something like that, and you go, oh, that's very good. That's very Chinese.
That's perfect for a Chinese guy.
Right. Yeah. But most people don't think of that thing. And it's not just a matter of volume game. It's the way your mind thinks.
Yeah.
You like today when I said to you, I can't watch that movie, but I did watch the Louis Lee thing, and he said it's because there's too many Asians. So it's like my mind doesn't think that way,
right?
But there is a similarity to what we do, because we're both in this business called show, and we're in the humor. We're in the humor
division of Showbiz Co. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm sorry you're suffering from imposter syndrome, Dan, but. Shake it off, because you're doing fine.
Shake it off.
Well, it's a fake thing, It is just insecurity.
That's what it is.
Everybody is underqualified for what they're doing in some way. You know what I mean? Everyone is faking it to some extent in the world.
Well, yeah.
But, ultimately, no one has more right to be in the room than you.
And also the important thing that you said was that a lot of times, once I realized, it's anxiety, then that once you identify it,
Right.
you don't let yourself go down these roads of like, am I good enough to do this? Is this me? And this is what happens when I get nervous.
Well, and it's all, I mean, so much of the things we put in our way are just different flavors of fear, you know?
Yes.
I mean, almost everything that we put in our way and give a name to is misnamed because it's really just fear manifesting itself and getting itself in the way. So for any number of reasons, but like when it comes to writing, you know, that fear gets in your way so you won't fail at writing.
Right,
you know what I mean? So you're protecting yourself from that feeling of this is hard and I could have a bad day at it, you know? So instead you start telling yourself all these stories about why you're not getting to it, kind of, you know?
And for me, like, the more I see why I'm resistant to things. So in other words, like, it doesn't work for me to say, well, you'll just like this writing more. It's more like removing the things that I normally do that get me upset by removing those things, like the belief that I'm not good enough, whatever it is.
Right.
The tasks are becoming more pleasant. They are, even though it may not be obvious to the human eye, but I can feel differently about it. And then the other part of it, my big thing is wanting to be healthier than I am is another kind of trap. You know, like, why can't it all happen today?
Right. Television Savalas says, I was excited to find Sherry Flanagan from National Lampoon Trots and Bonnie fame on Facebook. Do you have any niche, obscure artists you were overly jazzed about meeting?
I'm always jazzed about meeting anybody who, like, I was, like, the guy who played on Seinfeld. He was the Chinese in that episode of where they never get the table.
Yeah.
I
James
met him.
Hong.
What's that?
James Hong.
Yeah, I got very excited.
That's like my example of who excited me too, because I worked with him on Malcolm and Eddie that year.
Oh, wow.
And those were always, when working in TV, it's when you get to hire those character actors that you've seen a million times.
Yeah.
It's because, like, you write the part for someone like that because you grew up watching TV and it's like an archetype almost. And then you go, oh, wait, I could actually get that guy because I'm on a real TV show. And that's what he does for a living. So there was times where I've worked, there was a guy named Dennis Berkeley who was like the mute biker in the movie Mask. And he was in, you know, every sitcom in the 70s as a guy ostensibly called Tiny, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
He was the biker who stood up. You know?
And all of a sudden he was looming.
Yeah, or he's right behind me, isn't he? And it was that guy. So I hired him to do this episode of the show I was on called Dead Last. And I even named, as a joke, I named his character Big Tiny.
Oh. He knew the joke, right?
Yeah, he knew the joke. And he was great. And it was a role like I had never seen him play before. You know, it was like this really tough, heavy, Laughlin gambling guy. Much different than the other kind of bad guys he's played. And he was a great guy, and it was just, you know, it was really fun.
It makes
or
you feel great,
Sam
I'm sure.
McMurtry on Freaks and Geeks, you know, or Joe Flaherty, you know, so there was, those are always fun.
Love Sam.
When you get to, you know, it's fun to get to write for these people. It's fun to get to work with these people because it sort of connects you to your life of watching.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know, it makes it does sort of complete that circle of now I'm here.
It's cool. It is cool. And like, did I tell you when I met him, I said, "Are you that actor?" He goes, "No, I'm his brother."
I only do eyes.
Perush says, love chunks, Josh. Thanks, Perush. Wishing our boy Clyde a speedy recovery. Thanks
Yes.
again, Perush. He's doing well. And thank you for all of the people who sent in wishes. Any plans to watch international movies in the homework session? Like Yojimbo, you mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so there.
Also, have you experienced 115 degrees downtown Los Angeles? Aerosmith's back in town.
He hasn't experienced it?
He's saying, also, have you experienced 115 degrees?
Downtown Los Angeles, 115 degrees. They call it global warming. I call it global roasting. Here, this one goes out to
You can cook an egg on this next track by Blondie.
Here's Under the Board. I'll tell you, Under the Boardwalk. If they made it today, it would be like my.
Wow. DJ Aneurysm. Adam James asks, did both/either of you guys watch The Sopranos at any point?
I watched the whole series.
Do you agree that it is the most important and greatest drama to ever grace American television?
I think you can make that argument. It was that way for me when it came on.
Yeah.
It was so, and I actually caught up on the first season or second season, but by the time it was third season, it was like, I'm watching this every week when it comes out. I can't argue with that, although I can say that it's very hard to, when you make those statements, because there's always things, because also Mad Men was pretty great. But I don't know, not Mad Men. Mad Men was great, but Breaking Bad, was kind of, I think Sopranos made more sense throughout. I don't know. I kind of think it made more sense on a week-to-week, like he did weird stuff.
Yeah.
But in general, but I don't think that matters, that it was the show, it started and the show ended. I don't know, my point is, it seemed like sometimes, like, Breaking Bad, I love that all the way through, too. But sometimes you felt like, it's going to go too crazy. And almost it's like, how can you not make choices that are going to be weird? So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, between those two, they're very different shows. I think Breaking Bad was better storytelling, and I think Sopranos was better characterization.
That's, see? See how you do it?
I don't know if Sopranos is the most important show ever, but it was a great, great show and hugely influential to what TV is now. But, I think you don't have Sopranos without Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue and those steps that got taken on network.
It certainly is the drama coming from like the same drama you would see in a movie theater now transferred to your screen. That there's no better example of that intensity, but there were other shows too like it. But so drama-wise, to me, it was like this was like watching every week Goodfellas, in a way.
At this point, it feels like television deserves its own.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's not. People tend to give it that compliment of
it's like a movie.
It was like a movie or it was like a book. But television is a unique medium in the sense that it's not like those things because you can tell these extended, tangential stories that you can't tell in a movie or in a book, and still be accomplishing your mission of storytelling, but this is television is such a bigger palette, and it's such an opportunity for a great actor if you match him up with a great writer, because you get to do so much more with this character.
Well, the guy who did Deadwood, I forget his name, but he was one of his quotes was like, to him,
Milch.
Yeah, David Milch. To him, the plot of something is how the main characters emotional reaction to what happens to them.
Right.
And that I really related to, like, because I would always like to defend when people are like, it's got to have a beginning, middle, and end. To me, it's like you can have an emotional beginning, middle, and end, and that's what I think is. You're less likely to see in a movie are those small movies that are about emotional things like that. If they come out in the movie form, they're almost like opposite, like a, what's it called when it's unique because they're mostly bigger movies that are being made.
Yeah, but the arc of a movie is such that, the character is going to change from Act 1 to Act 3. Whereas on television, that same change can take place between season 1 and season 3.
True.
And so you can do a much more realistic evolution that doesn't have to be quite as epiphany based as it is in a movie.
I think all the boundaries are going to break down in a way because it's never going to be like the movies are going to be like all like 5 Easy Pieces or like I was hoping Sideways would make a whole bunch of movies. Like these movies are going to be made available, but they're not going to. You have to look for them, or they're not going to dominate the multiplexes.
Yeah, no, but that's been true for 30 years.
Well, so
there's the early '90s. You had that nice little indie boom kind of, ultimately now it's just everything has to find its own audience, and some things are going to break through, big or small, you know.
Right, but also like I love documentaries. So documentaries, they transcend they're not of television, they're not of movies, they're documentaries.
Right.
So
I find it's hard when I'm making stuff now to make it like, you know, both my docs feature films, but I never really was thinking of, when directing them, I was not thinking of them as being on a big screen, frankly, you know, which is kind of disappointing. But, you know, I was always considering, some people are going to watch this on a phone. Some people are going to see it on their laptop. Some people are going to see it on their TV. But, you know, it was surprising when I saw it on a big screen.
yes,
There was things that were just genuinely surprising to me because I didn't have that
experience of it.
I didn't have that experience of doing it before, and I didn't have, because I knew sort of where the movie was headed, that what the likely thing is going to be Netflix, Amazon Prime, some sort of video outlet. I wasn't directing it for the big screen, you know,
right?
And I feel like I probably should have, just even, you know, not that anything would have necessarily been different. But I found when I was surprised what it felt like and looks like on a big screen, I was like, oh, you should have a better idea of what that is that you're making.
The scope, yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't.
It makes
exactly
sense what
clear
you're saying.
about
It
that.
does make sense what you're saying. But the thing is, when you're making, if it's hard to think of a system where,
Like if you were making a movie 50 years ago, you were only thinking about it for the big screen.
right, and also documentaries too. At one point,
Yeah.
were only on the big screen.
Sure.
Except it gets fuzzy because since TV's been around, there's been, you know, National Geographic Channel, whatever early versions of.
Yeah, but you knew you were making it for TV then.
That's true.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right. Now I think it's like.
Now you're just making this thing that's sort of one size fits all for all media.
Right, because you couldn't, if you said, I'm only going to make this movie if this is a major release that's going to be competitive with all the rest of the movies, that'd be crazy in a way.
Yeah.
Unless it was something you were hired for. But I can't think of any documentary that was predicted to be great. I can't explain what I'm saying. They kind of, there's a cultish feeling anyway to documentaries.
I think Michael Moore makes them thinking they're going to be that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he hasn't succeeded at doing that with each of his, but with some of them he has. But
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, that there's also there's different kind of documentarians, and there's that brand. You know, there's the Morgan Spurwell or
Spurlock.
Thank you. You know, Michael Moore thing where they're selling themselves.
Yeah, they're clever
as
propagandists is the way. The one guy.
Michael Moore is a propagandist.
Oh, he definitely is.
Yeah.
But I was hesitant to say Spurlock was. But he does, in a way, go like, who told you to eat at McDonald's every day? You know what I mean? It's like the premises that he does.
Yeah.
Like, what would happen if you did this? Well, no one ever said you. You know, it's like he's making an angle on the thing that he's projecting, which is, I'm not saying is bad or good. I couldn't watch it. But the idea was these people at McDonald's, they're killing us because what if I ate there every day? That to me is not a real premise.
Yeah, it's not real science.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real premise for a documentary because he said it is.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like Penn and Teller, bullshit, this is bullshit. Everything becomes bullshit.
Right.
Like when they did their thing of recycling is bullshit.
Right.
At the end of it, you didn't think that recycling was bullshit.
Right.
So
I thought there's some aspects to the system that aren't necessarily up to snuff. Shiftless Element says Andy's impression of his mom featured heavily on an episode of Dr. Katz. Did Andy's mom ever see the episode? If so, what did she think of Andy's impression brought to life through the magic of squiggle vision?
I think that she didn't like, she loved it. You know, I think she loved it. She loves me doing an impression of her, but I don't think that she was crazy about looking like an old Jewish lady kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I may be projecting that because I never heard her say that. Maybe I did hear. Also, I know that she is part of her converting to being a Quaker is not running away from the fact that she felt isolated as a Jew, in a way. So, but she is one of these people who could be the self-hating Jew if you're the only Jew in your town, and so I was portraying her as an old Jewish lady in Florida when you saw the visual.
Right. At what does she see herself as an old Jewish lady?
No.
Really?
No, she doesn't sound like I portray her. I take her everything she said word for word, but I've put it in the guise of someone from Queen. Andy, you're on Everybody Loves Raymond. Very nice.
Right.
The voice is more just people from New York. She doesn't talk that way. She talks more like.
No, I understand that, but I'm literally asking: is Quakerdom so much her identity now that she doesn't see herself as an old Jewish lady?
No, it's not that Quakerism. It's the part of her that didn't like being Jewish.
Yeah.
She wouldn't want to see herself as an old Jewish lady. But it wouldn't be like, because I'm a Quaker. It would be more like, I just don't like that image of Jews.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle Wisecarver.
Hi, Michelle Wisecarver. You know what? You are a wise carver, huh? Oh, shut up, Andy. I'm sorry, Michelle.
I too love Chunks, Josh. I'm telling everyone I know to purchase it. Thank you, Michelle. Andy, I hope you didn't think I was being mean when I mentioned on Twitter that you might forget you gave me a TS theme song. All meant in love, friend.
Oh, no.
But did you remember? No, he didn't remember.
I didn't remember.
He did not remember.
But no, being made fun of for forgetting things is good. I'm not sensitive about it unless someone accused me of, how could you not remember it?
Right. Oh, shit. Larry Harold says, hey, what about Disneyland stories? Hashtag leave me hanging. I think we did start and didn't finish. I don't really have... I've been to Disneyland, I think, 4 times. Once as a kid, really enjoyed it. A couple of times as an adult, parent, kid, really did not enjoy it. And then the one time I had to go to Disney World for America's Funniest Home Video shoot, and I had to stay there for like 5 days.
I drove you nuts.
And we shot after the park closed each night. So each day was just
torturous,
an alcoholic day-killing adventure that Trace and I put together. So it was, and we were staying at like the safari thing. Which, you know, made it feel extra like Papillon being imprisoned there. So yeah, you know, I respect Disney kind of, because I know that if you suspend your financial disbelief, they will give your family a great fucking time if you're into that shit. You know? Right. They're very, very good at what they do at those parks.
He had a vision for the park.
Yeah, and I don't even know how much of it has to do with Walt anymore, but as a corporation, they're very good at this business, this hospitality entertainment business.
Right.
You know, but I'm so puzzled by adults who are enthralled with Disneyland still.
Well, I took acid a couple of times.
Yeah.
So that was like, I took it both times. I think the first time I went to Disneyland as an adult, I took it.
Yeah.
And it was it was fun, but it was like the happiest place. They keep saying the happiest place on earth. They keep repeating that over and over. So it kind of like
or are you just fucking on acid? Hearing that
I think,
over and over.
I think it was like,
it's the happiest place on earth. Oh, it's the happiest place on earth.
It was a time period in my life where...
Happiest place on earth.
It's the happiest place on earth.
It's the happiest place.
This is like a Twilight Zone version of acid.
I never took it, so I don't.
But there was a time period in my life where it was like anything I wanted to do, I only wanted to do if I took acid.
Yeah. I'm glad we weren't hanging back then.
I didn't do it that much, I would be dead.
Greg Kelly says, Andy, I love the Hack's Handbook and National Lampoon. Write anything else for them?
No, and it was like I just loved the memory of that whole thing. It was such a great thing to do. But I wrote nothing else. The person who was running Mad at the end, my friend Dan, he asked me to submit something, and then I didn't, and then I think it's over.
It is over.
I've written articles for things, but that's not the question. I did not write anything else for
National Lampoon.
That's right. Don't lie.
Greg follows up with, Andy, what are your memories of the moon landing?
My memories of the moon landing are not...
50 years ago this week.
Unfortunately, I was in summer camp. So when I was in summer camp, sleepaway camp, I think I was excited by it, but all the things that happened when I was there. Like when I watched Watergate, because I was in high school, experiencing that was more of an intense thing. When I was like 12 years old or whatever, almost 13, and the moon landing happened, I would have had more of a memory of it if I was home and watching it on TV. But I kind of do have a feeling.
Like, do you remember any of the subsequent ones, or do you remember the?
Oh, I was a
the Christmas
space
Eve
fan.
Apollo 8 broadcast. Do you remember any of that?
What's that one?
Where they broadcast from live and shit. That was like where they had the moonrise or the Earthrise photo came from Apollo 8.
Did you watch any of the things recently? Like
I watched so much of it.
Like the CNN stuff?
I had seen the doc that was on CNN, but I've probably watched 10 different Apollo things.
Oh,
I
that's
watched
cool.
American Experience. I'm very into Apollo.
Yeah, I was into it as a kid.
60s NASA shit.
I was into it more as a kid, and I'd like to watch some of these things.
Yeah, I watched a lot of them. And there's some good ones. The American Experience is really good, and the Apollo 11 doc that they showed on CNN, I watched not on CNN.
American Experience in general is a good show.
Yeah. But I wasn't alive for most of it.
I definitely remember being alive, and I definitely
Do you remember
remember
Apollo 13?
Is Apollo 13 the one that almost
Didn't make it back.
that didn't make it
That
back?
almost didn't.
Almost
make it
Oh yeah, I remember being. Yes, I remember following it very closely because I was into it at the time. But so like my thing was like I couldn't get out of my mind the Gus Grissom. That thing was like such a. For some reason, I was obsessed with it as a kid.
Yeah.
Fire in the Capsule, and it just became like an iconic thing for me. But I remember, I don't know. I think I was too
self-absorbed.
I think if I'd been a little older, maybe it would have been more of a like. It's hard to say. Like when I saw the Beatles and I was whatever age I was, it was like the earth had changed.
Yeah,
it was earth shattering. So I always say if I'd been 18 during that point, I would have gotten the Beatles more, but I couldn't have gotten them any more than I got. They were like a total crush type thing. So they were very affecting on me, but it's like the JFK assassination. I do remember being very affected by it. I think I saw Oswald get killed because it was on TV. But I'm still so young that it's not like going through something like 9/11. I remember everything about that tragedy, like... not in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm bringing that up. I can't think of any other cultural events.
Well, it was also 30 years more recently.
Yeah.
Yoshi Yamamoto.
Yeah. Yo ho ho Yoshi. Josh gave me a look that indicated that I wasn't even doing a good version of whatever I was doing.
No, you're misreading my look once again. Sometimes I'm just waiting. Sometimes I'm just simply waiting.
Why can't I? Why do I have to have an incorrect conclusion about what people are thinking?
I don't know. It's really.
How does it help me?
How does it help me?
True.
How was Andy's set at Skankfest? Did you go to Skankfest?
It sounds like someone who's making fun of me.
No, isn't there a Skankfest? I think
no, Let's Fest I went to. Maybe there is a Skankfest, but I never played it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not lying to you.
I believe you. No,
okay, I was.
You never have to convince me you didn't get booked somewhere.
I called it Skankfest.
Patented Phil says, "Did I have one too many margaritas tonight to celebrate my reemployment? Also, favorite type of pickle: half sour, full sour, shelf stable, bread and butter, kosher, etc."
Half sour, when it's good, is my favorite kind of pickle.
Yeah.
How about you? It's the greatest when when there's a lot of cucumber to it. And sometimes it doesn't work that way.
I like them a little deeper in the process.
You like it more sour?
I like it a little more in the... I like a lot of garlic and a good pickle.
It's like unbelievable with you. It's why you ruin everything. You ruin everything I've ever held dear with your garlic.
And yes, you did have too many margaritas tonight to celebrate your reemployment, but congratulations on your reemployment.
Yeah. You know what you should do? Have a drink.
Someone did our Face app version, the Aging Us.
Hey, does it look bad?
Have you seen that on
I haven't seen it, no.
A lot of people have been doing that today.
Well, how much more age can I get?
Exactly. You know my depressing Face app, the mirror. That's me aged by the app.
Oh God.
Which
what happened
it's not
to
much
you?
worse. And there's you.
Oh. Oh my God.
There you go.
I don't see any difference between how I look.
It's really that looking standing.
I look a little better
sitting
there.
across from you.
I like the contrast in that photo.
Yes. He says, recently met an old man who thought he knew me, and I just went along with it for several minutes just to avoid embarrassing him. My friend then told him he was mistaken, and then we were both embarrassed. Ever have a similar situation?
I've had every version of not remembering somebody or whatever. I've had every kind of version of that.
I've had a few shockingly embarrassing instances of me and my facial blindness kicking in.
Oh, gotcha. You had no idea who you were meeting.
Well, I just had no idea that I had met them before.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's been a couple of times where it was like super recent.
Like it would,
And like even with very distinctive looking people. And it's like in cocktail party situations, there's so much of my anxiety soundtrack playing.
Right.
And it's not even an audible, it's just it's a hum. I don't have a dialogue that I tell myself at parties, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going through this terror cycle, but there's another part of that I'm operating from, it seems like, when I'm at parties. So all the data that I was supposed to absorb.
Yeah, you're only kind of absorbing.
From these small talk encounters, they don't go to my hard drive for some reason.
Right.
Because my brain is chattering like a monkey in some other way, it seems. And so I end up with like no record
of that, yeah,
of these conversations, and it has embarrassed me numerous times.
Yeah, I think there's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately.
Not a lot. I mean, you can pay a little more attention. You know,
it's easy for you to say.
Like focus in a little more when you hear the name the first time, and attach it to the face a little more.
I'm doing that. I can do that a little better, but sometimes still no.
But I do have a real sort of facial blindness thing where I have to meet someone several times or see them several times
before
my memory will project a face for them. Like there's people even like right now who I deal with on a regular basis where if you asked me to form a mental, like I would recognize them if I see them. Yeah. But I can't quite form a mental picture of their face.
But not with your wife or something.
No, not with my wife, not with you. But it's a weird thing.
It is a weird thing because I'm thinking about it now.
A trick memory when it comes to that. And I think some of it is just ADD of not focusing when meeting them. Yeah. And letting the other conversations in your head get dominant,
Well, also because of the what's the side of your brain? The left side of your brain is constantly picking out all these details and what to remember, and you can't. Some of those things have to exit somehow,
right?
Except for people who have tremendous recall or they just have that talent.
We're not all Mary Lou Henner.
It's true. That's what I was thinking of.
Jim Meehan says, remember when James Mason won Celebrity Jeopardy by running the porn stars category, pretending each answer was a lucky guess?
I don't remember that.
And I love Chunks.
Yes, Alex, I will take porn stars for 800.
What? Oh, how did they do it? Oh, God. John Holmes.
Who is Johnny Wad? I don't know.
The judges.
Who is Lacey DeVulva? I don't know.
The answer is...
It's amazing.
Testicles. The answer is testicles.
What are hanging from my dingleberries?
If you didn't know what this podcast was and you came in the middle of that, how would you know that we were sending something up?
We're shutting down the program, Mengele. You will not shut down the program. We're shutting it down right now. You will not shut down the program. I will not have this program stopped by an insolent Jew.
Bobby!
All right, let's see if we have one more here.
Bobby! Of the Jews I don't like.
Sharpling chimed in with, I'd like to know what Andy Kindler is really like.
I read it 3 times without realizing it was Kindler.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it is, Tom? I'm a guy who I like to relax. I like to drink a beer. I like to kick back with my friends. And
Vapor lock. I think we're done, Andy.
this was I have to say, in the last couple of minutes, I thought I might start to go crazy.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good time. No. It's not that. Well, I'm just lying. Anyway, Josh, it's great to see you again.
It's great to see you.
Chunks.
Yeah. Please buy my album or just listen to it streaming on Pandora and the other streaming services. It's called Chunks by J. Elvis Weinstein. You heard a little chunk earlier tonight.
A chunk from Chunks?
A chunk from Chunks?
A hunk from Chunks?
No, chunk.
Chunk from Chunks.
They're all chunks.
All right.
You call them hunks. They're chunks in my book.
Oh.
So please check it out. Rate and review us on iTunes if you would. Check out our shirt selection and a mug on Zazzle.com /thought_spiral.
If you're in Montreal, I will be giving my speech.
Are you hosting?
And I'm hosting the alternative show.
Gotcha.
So please, you know what you're doing if you're in Montreal. Look it up. Why do I get annoyed at plugging? I have to tell you where it is.
You have a real resistance to plugging.
Yeah, because I'm the real.
You know
deal.
what that is?
What?
It's fear.
And we'll be back. No,
No,
that would have been a good.
That's right.
That would have been a good. Why do I have to? It's never going to have the clothes I want.
You know why?
Why?
Fear.